What goes up must come down, much like Kirk Cousins' passes and the Packers' playoff chances. We travel to Philly on the national stage yet again on Monday night. Can we make a run? It's all next on your Packers Fan Podcast.
Hey Packers fans, this is your unofficial Packers Fan Podcast, and these are the podcasters you're looking for. One of these guys has been to the birthplace of Curly Lambeau, and the other guy, well, he has too. And now it's time to go, Pack, go, with your hosts, Wayne Henderson and Troy Heinritz.
Welcome back, diehard Packers fans. This is the Packers Fan Podcast. It's the show by and for fans of your 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers. And we want to hear from you. We got a voicemail. It's especially good here in the States, but if you got the cash, go ahead and call us from anywhere in the world at area code 920-3PACK-GO or worldwide. Simply visit PackersFanPodcast.com/feedback. Be part of the show. Let your voice be heard. This is episode 120 of your Packers Fan Podcast. Tonight's November 22nd, 2016. And we've got all the info in the show notes at PackersFanPodcast.com/120.
On this episode, we'll be going over what we liked and didn't like from our loss to the Redskins. We'll be singing It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas, at least in Lambeau Field. And rumors of the khaki one potentially coming to Green Bay. Yes, you heard it right, people.
Oh my. I'm also going to share some of my favorite Packers dope sheet tidbits for the game in Philly. Troy's going to have the keys to the Packers beating the Eagles, and we'll have our wild guesses of the final score of the Packers at Eagles game. And me, I'm at Wayne Henderson, your voice acting, podcasting part owner of the Green Bay Packers. And although I love our Packers, I'm hoping we get a defense for Christmas.
I could make that happen. I know a guy.
Excellent. Make it happen.
His name isn't Santa either. I'm at Troy Heinritz, and I did watch the game this week.
Thank goodness. Thank you for joining in.
No problem. Yeah, I was a little bit, what do you say? I was excited. It was 3 quarters of bliss, and then what the hell just happened?
You know, if there was a way to do a special edit where you only watch the offense, it'd be a much happier game.
That it would. That it would indeed. And did you know that when you can go on offense anytime you want, because the Packers Fan Podcast app is available on demand and on the go, just like the Packers offense was this week. It's with our free Packers Fan Podcast app for iOS and Android. It was presented by theticketking.com. Remember, you're not sold out till the king is sold out. Get Packers tickets at the best prices by visiting Packers Fan Podcast. It's our show, PackersFanPodcast.com/tickets for all the details.
Absolutely. Now, one thing I want to tell you right up front that compared to last week, we actually do have more highlights, in our opinion, from the game than we had to talk about last time.
There's a lot of highlights from this game. I think the game overall, like I said, for full on 3 quarters was actually a really, really good football game. Take away maybe like the first 2 series and those 3 and outs, but then the fourth quarter happened and it was like, what just happened?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, for myself, one of my favorite highlights was the fact that was one of the easiest touchdown passes and catches from AR-12 to James Starks I've ever seen.
He's probably happy about that too, because Starks had those fumble issues and got to get a little bit back in the groove after being gone for so long. So I'll take an easy one when you can get one.
I did not see a Redskin anywhere in sight, which if we could get that every week, nice.
He turned around and he was like, dude, there's so much green. I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah. Was this play blown dead? Is this really happening? Cool.
That was amazing. Well, greatest fake ever. And then of course we had Randall Cobb in this game was really, really on fire. He had couple great runs, nice slant grabs again that he's known for, and then taken off for the runs after the yards after the catch. I mean, I think Cobb's performance so far this season has been back to almost where he should be when Jordy was not present last year.
Yes, he's done so many good things for us, and with his help, we're hanging on by a thread. And it was so good that we're getting some of the injured people back, like that Jared Cook, tight end. What a giant, what a beast. And that beautiful touchdown pass to Jared Cook, his first ever as a Green Bay Packer. Another highlight, in my opinion.
Absolutely. 6 catches, 105 yards with that long streaking 47-yarder and the touchdown. Now, granted, he had the fumble, but I don't think there would be anybody, even a man his mammoth size, that could hold on to the ball and prevent that thing from coming out. That was a well-executed play on the defensive part.
Totally agree. I don't think there's a way to defend that. I mean, the defender from the Redskins, he just happened to punch the ball at just the right angle at just the right second. I don't think you can really defend against that, so I'm not going to hold Jared Cook responsible either.
I mean, he's a bigger guy, so there's a bigger target for him to punch at. So it happens. What are you going to do? Yeah, if that, I think those are two of the momentum things in this game, right? That one, we would have scored on that drive had we not fumbled the ball. And two, that call. Oh my gosh, the call from Gruden to go for it on fourth down. That was the best coaching call I've seen in my entire life.
Why can't we do more of that?
I mean, I don't want to make it sound like I'm a Redskins fan or something, even though I picked up Kirk Cousins to be on my fantasy team this week.
Oh my.
But thank you very much for that Packers defense since I won. But when you think about that one call set the entire tone of what happened next. Because if they go out 3 and out on that or turn the ball over on fourth down, then we literally get the ball back. We go down and score based on how we were firing at that point of the game. That one single call was the deciding factor of this contest.
Definitely a pivot point. I know a few hours before game time, you sent me a text letting me know that Barclay was going to be starting tonight, and you were instantly nervous.
I believe I used the term human turnstile is starting.
Poor guy.
On the line.
I'm sure he's a fine gentleman, but maybe his talents are better served elsewhere. And, you know, he only played most of the first half, and then he might have got dinged up or something, but he wasn't back in the second half. Spriggs was in there instead, and that was an upgrade.
Oh, it was a huge upgrade. You talk about everybody that's harping on the coaching staff for all the things that have been happening with the Packers over the last few weeks. This was probably the best decision they could have made, was to put Spriggs in there instead of Barkley, because that really shored up our line to be able to do the stuff we could do in the second half, especially against and with the wind.
Yeah, the wind seemed to have been a factor mostly for, you know, just which direction we wanted to go down the field to have the wind at our backs. And, of course, you know, affects the kicking game a bit. But certainly I wouldn't put too much blame on the wind. I mean, it is what it is. It wasn't like a typhoon or anything.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins was able to get the ball through there going against the wind. So clearly not a factor for the quarterbacks.
And then Bob Seger traveled back in time and wrote a song about that.
Nice one. Love it. All right. Then you had, of course, this awesome play. Touchdown or not, I don't care. It was still a Herculean effort by any stretch of the imagination. The face mask touchdown to Jordy Nelson. I don't know how he got the ball off, to be quite honest. I don't know how he stood on his feet, because his neck got wrangled.
I know, his head just about spun all the way around, and he was able to recover so dang quick and still find his target. So this is one of those plays you could probably find the best way to describe it. It's kind of a low light and a highlight.
Yeah, because the offense wasn't clicking, and I think that move, that grab of Rodgers' helmet, kind of put some spark underneath that offensive line to say, hey, we got to protect him better because he's going to get killed out here if we don't do our jobs. They shored up everything, and then we were often firing from that point forward.
Not to mention, you know, I don't know Aaron Rodgers' mental state. Obviously, nobody does but Aaron. But I think that play also woke him up and maybe even put a chip on his shoulder and ticked him off a bit. And that, just like when Brett Favre would get ticked off, you know, good things are going to start happening.
Yeah, because Aaron did not have a horrible game by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
When you look at his stat line, considering that he was playing from behind and against the wind and all this other stuff. I mean, he came in with a 115 quarterback rating at the end of this game. So clearly Rodgers is not the issue.
No.
When it looks at this offense. I mean, I know he was missing a couple games, a few issues here and there. He had the 2 picks last week against Tennessee. But you're just trying to make something happen at that point because you're down by so much. So when you're trying to force something to happen, things are going to happen. So yeah, maybe he clocked in a 70 plus last week, but you know, consistently this year, he's in the 96 range on average. So he's not the problem. The problem is definitely with the defense, which I don't even know if that's Dom Capers' issue, because if you throw any defensive coordinator in there with the people we have playing in the secondary right now, nobody's going to be successful.
That's a good point. And Aaron, you know, bless him for wanting to put the entire team on his back to try to get a victory. but unfortunately, he can really only put the offense on his back. There's not much Aaron Rodgers can do to help out the defense.
If there's a coaching change that's coming this season, it's going to be in the training room and the team doctors. I mean, people are like, oh, every team gets hurt. The Packers are decimated every single year for I feel like the last 5 years.
Yeah, and this year, it as bad as it's been in recent memory.
I know, especially in the one position. Like, how does everybody at the same position get injured unless they're not doing proper stretching drills or what have you? I mean, it could just be the name of the game or the cleats they decided to have sponsor this year. Maybe it's the sponsor's fault. I don't know. But the entire secondary be decimated. And then, of course, the linebacking core is right behind him there. Now you got Blake Martinez is injured. Nick Perry is injured. Bryce got in. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I am so over the injury bug.
And every offseason, I have such high hopes that we're going to make it through the year without any major injuries. And then this, I cannot imagine what could be at fault other than just pure bad coincidence that it happened to strike the Packers so much worse than everybody else again.
Well, I mean, look at Lacey. He does all that work in the offseason, right? The P90X and everything to get ready. He should be in the best physical shape of his life and yet still gets injured in a contract year.
Yeah. So you know something's wrong. Don't know what the answer is.
And of course, fundamentals. I know you loved all the tackling that was going on or the lack thereof.
I was looking for tackling and there was one or two instances, but the rest of the time, seriously, this went through my head 3 times during the game. You know, Troy's going to mention something about getting back to the fundamentals because there's nothing going on resembling tackling through most of this game.
Spoiler alert, that's a key to the game later.
You've been forewarned. Listen ahead at your own peril.
So now I'm going to ask you, Wayne, Jordy Nelson, catch or no catch?
Well, as a fanboy, I'm going to say a catch, but I also think it was a catch because doesn't the, whatever makes a catch versus what's not a catch, I think it's slightly different when the receiver is in the end zone. Agree?
That is correct. I mean, so the catch is typically 3 things. One is that you have to establish control of the ball.
Done.
You have to catch the ball. 2, you have to have 2 feet on the ground or another body part that is not a hand. And then 3, you have to make sure that you make a football move. So basically transitioning from a wide receiver to a runner in that motion. So those are the 3 things you need. That's in the open field of play. For a touchdown to occur, in order for a touchdown to be a touchdown, the ball has to cross the plane only, right? Just break the plane. Doesn't even have to completely cross the plane. Just break the plane. The ball has to break the plane in a player's hands. So if you take the combination of those 2 rules together, then you would say ball broken plane in the player's hands, caught with 2 feet on the ground. And that's exactly where Jordy Nelson was before the ball was punched out.
Exactly. Touchdown Packers.
Yep, 100%.
Because I know there's still, even though they have such a great record this year, there are still Cowboys fans that are trying to figure out, well, how come that's a catch? But what happened to us when we played at Lambeau was not a catch.
It just happens to be. Happens to be. Whatever. Because he was in the air, right? On his catch, he was in the air. So because he's in the air, he still has to establish the 2 feet or control to the ground.
Exactly.
And if you still don't believe us, we have a video of what is a catch from the NFL rule book. So we'll have that video at our show notes. You can find that at PackersFanPodcast.com/120.
That will be very helpful, and hopefully everybody will watch it as well as the referees for the rest of the games this season, so there will be no confusion.
The other little light that we have to talk about is the fact that Aaron Rodgers is not getting the ball down the field. He got one with Jared Cook, which was awesome. But when you look at what was able to happen there from Mr. Cousins, I mean, 50-yard plays. There were 3 of them in the fourth quarter alone.
That was a heartbreaker.
Yeah, and according to ESPN Stat and Information, the Packers were the first team to do that, allow 50-yard, literally 3 50-yard plays in the fourth quarter. The first team to do that since 2001.
Wow.
And no team and no team has allowed that many total 50-yard plays in the fourth quarter all season.
So based on that ESPN stat and info graphic, we're doing worse than the Browns and the Bears.
Yeah.
On defense.
Thanks for that. Rub it in a little bit more, why don't you?
Ouch. Yeah, would you like some salt with that? We'll sprinkle that on the wound. Unbelievable. Just
yeah, I'll take some pepper instead. That way we can pepper the defense to get moving.
Oh, yeah. Whatever it takes, spice that puppy up.
Yeah, the Redskins game. What are we going to do about the Redskins game?
And, the worst part is the fact that we lost and had some terrible defense. But also, I had a few great, you like that, memes ready to go and didn't get to use a single one. Many Redskins fans sent me memes.
Hey, at least you were prepared, unlike the defense.
That's one way to look at it, Troy.
Well, I'm sure that you had a fantastic Twitter poll to go with this fantastic loss that we had this week.
This one kind of posted out of desperation. I just wanted to pick the brains of the followers of our Twitter account at PackersFanPod on Twitter and basically just laid it out there. How many of the remaining 6 games do you think that our Packers will win? And 25% of the people that voted at PackersFanPod for the Twitter poll every Monday, 25% said the Packers are going to win at least 4 of the 6 games. And I love the enthusiasm and the optimism.
Still doesn't make the playoffs, but okay.
What a killjoy. Oh, man. The one that I thought when I posted this was going to be the clear-cut winner came in last place. Only 17% of the voters said we're going to win 3 and lose 3. Kind of a 50-50 deal. Surprisingly, the one that came in first place with 30% of the votes was that the Packers are only going to win 2 of the remaining 6 games, and then followed closely in second place with 28% of the votes. We're only going to win 1 of these final 6 games. Your thoughts, Sir Troy?
There's Bears and Jacksonville. Yeah, so win 2 games sounds about right.
I think we're going to win 4 or more.
I'm just disappointed in you that there wasn't an option for run the table with all 6. You're slacking. That means between now and the end of the season, you have to pick 2 losses, my friend.
No,
because you did not put a win all 6 option in the list.
Well, that's why the first option is listed as at least 4 games. Basically, I did not want to put in the poll that we're going to go undefeated the rest of the season because I know I would be the only person out there probably voting for that one, and it would come in a dismal last place. So to make it look more equitable, I had to word it that way.
See, you're just avoiding a strong sense of reality. I see how it goes.
Those rose-colored green and gold glasses, which are, it's hard to get rose-colored and green and gold at once, but I got them.
Well, at least we have some good news on the injury front. Yes, we have Randall Cobb will likely play after his hamstring issues. Ty Montgomery will likely play. Clay Matthews will likely play after his hamstring got acted up again.
No, wait a minute. So Clay's going to take time out from filming TV commercials. He should be good to go to play in the football game?
That's what it says.
Okay, good. Go, Clay,
specifically
go.
Says it says right here in the report, takes time off from TV commercials.
Okay, good. We need him.
Bakhtiari will be back, potentially. He's day-to-day.
That's good because even though he committed a penalty or 2, he's more valuable than anything bad from 1 or 2 holding penalties.
Quentin Rollins will be back there, so at least we got someone that can maybe play some defense. Nice. Demarius Randall was upgraded to week, so that'll be good. And we also have LaTroy Guion and Dayton Jones upgraded to week. So things are looking up.
Anything is helpful. I mean, slowly getting back to full strength instead of getting further behind. I mean, the injury report spans over 1 page in the show prep document. That alone.
That is the longest injury report I think we've ever had.
It's like, it's a good thing it's not all starters, because that's about 22 people. That's not good.
I mean, going back, 6 years we've been doing the podcast now?
Yeah.
This is literally the longest injury report I have ever seen.
Yeah, it can only get better. I hope. Let me rephrase that. It likely will only get better.
You know how it could get better, Wayne?
It could be even better if we had even more people joining Saber Aid in becoming a Patreon supporter of your Packers Fan Podcast. By becoming a Patreon supporter, it helps us grow the show, bring you more excellent content every week, and you get cool rewards as well. Be sure to check out all the different levels. We made them kind of fun. Visit PackersFanPodcast.com/support. And yes, this just in. The rumors are true. There's even a chance for you to go to a game at Lambeau Field during the 2017 season with Troy in some of the best seats around if you join in on the Reggie White $92 level. Again, PackersFanPodcast.com/support will give you all the details on that. And with your support, we'll be able to do more fun things like possibly even live post-game call-in shows, meetups, maybe you'll get enough support, even do a meetup at Lambeau Field someday. I've got dreams, Troy. I'm ready.
And if we get enough funds, we can actually go ahead and buy a new team doctor.
And donate them to the Green Bay Packers?
Exactly right.
Hey, do what you can to help out. PackersFanPodcast.com/support.
Let's go into our listener feedback here. We got an email from Sean Murphy. Said, I'm an optimist most of the time when regarding my sports teams, but I'm also a realist. This team has killed my optimist side for this season. We still have a shot at the division, but does anyone really think the team has a shot once the playoffs come? All the playoff teams are better than us. It's true, and it sucks. Injuries kill us every year, but injuries happen to every team. Somehow, ours hurt us more than anyone. I've tried to stand by this coaching staff as much as I could, but this team has quit on them, and I'm sick of the best week of prep we've ever had statements from Mike McCarthy. He needs to flat out take the blame. Just as much as injuries are to blame, so are the coaches. This team can't go to the next season without the same group trying for one more run. Sorry to say it, but the coaching staff needs to be cleared out. I believe in Ted, but he needs to open his mind a little bit on the free agents. Also, any coach on the hot seat that tells people that he's highly successful head coach is never good. Makes him just sound full of themselves, and it makes it seem like Mike McCarthy is unwilling to change, which he needs to. ! Love the show. Thanks, Sean.
That's an excellent email, and it encapsulates a lot of the thoughts I've been having, but you put them into words that are a lot better than what I could come up with. Sean, thank you so much for sending in the email. And yeah, it irks me as well whenever I hear some of the, after practice press conferences and talking about how we had a great workout this week. And it's like just hyperbole. And it's like, I don't see it taking place on the field.
Yeah. The constant conversation that happens after these games and these press conferences. I just want someone to go up there and just say, didn't play my best today. I'm sorry. My fault. I'll get better.
Can we possibly hire the actor from The Waterboy to go to the post-game press conferences and be in the audience and go, oh no, we suck again. And see if we can get some more info out that way.
I don't think we're at 1980 status yet, but
no,
we're definitely back to that Brett Favre 4-12 season. It feels like.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find a way that we could shake things up. And Sean, great catch. I agree. When I heard Mike McCarthy say something about how he's a highly successful head coach, that just rubbed me the wrong way. How about you, Troy?
Well, he is a highly successful head coach. I mean, he has won a Super Bowl. He's been to the playoffs 7 times in a row, 4 division titles. He's not a bad coach. But there's something fundamentally wrong within the organization. I don't know if it stems from the Tom Clements thing last year and switching the play calling and giving that away. Because again, the offense does not seem like it's in a bad state of affairs. There were some games this year where we thought Rodgers wasn't on the same page. Maybe the receivers weren't on the same page. Maybe it was offensive line. There's lots of stuff you can contribute things to. Bottom line is that all season from day one, the secondary has been an issue. And the fact that we didn't bring in anybody in the secondary, as he was talking about in free agents signing season, to help shore up the secondary, that is the biggest problem we had and kind of a miss on our part.
That's a great point as well, Troy. I mean, we brought in that running back from the Chiefs for 8 days and shipped him off. We could have brought in somebody for the secondary.
Agree all the way.
And it's too late now, huh?
Yep. And then as soon as Clay went out, we could have had a middle linebacker. Has still been kind of the up and down thing. Granted, Blake has been a fantastic thing in there. You also got Ryan playing in there. But I don't know if you've noticed a lot of the passes, once again, Wayne, during the course of this Redskins game, again, middle of the field, straight up the middle where the spy is supposed to be playing. And I'm at the point now where I'm like, we should go back to a 4-3 because we need the spy in the middle of the field.
Indeed. Yeah. As soon as I see the opposing quarterback throw towards the middle of the field, I almost cover my eyes because I know what's going to happen. It's going to be a 25 to 30 yard first down gain every time.
Single time.
Killing me. Oh,
what else we got out there?
Well, we heard from more listeners on Twitter. We even heard in Portuguese, possibly from Portugal. Not sure, they didn't say what country, but C.H. Hoberek on Twitter said, the Packers' lack of defense, seriously, we won't make the playoffs.
Not if we lose this week, that's for sure. Our good friend Miguel said, hey, if me and Wayne Henderson and Troy Heinrichs, hey, that's you and me. Hey, if you guys play defensive back for the Packers, the outcome would be about the same.
Oh, no. I'm sure that Miguel, he used to play on defense, and Troy, you could be quite serviceable on defense, but that's not one of my skill sets. I think the outcome would have actually been much, much worse.
Wayne Henderson and Troy Heinrichs lining up in the secondary for the Green Bay Packers, that's not football.
Hey, if nothing else, I would love to get photos of it and put it in a resume because that would be awesome. But I think
that would be epic.
We're better suited to the Amazing Race.
Yes, that we are. And he also said in reply to Vince Lombardi, what in the hell is going on out there?
And Ryan replied to that. Ryan Hunter, Chosen Radar on Twitter, replied, bad coaching. Ooh.
Yeah, a lot of people are not real happy with the coaching staff.
No, and Beth Mentick, glad to hear from you as well, said, I don't want to hear about the wind, injuries, or Olivia Munn. Figure it out. No more excuses.
Wow, even going after Olivia. The fans are getting restless, people.
Well, I think it's a case of there's so many people that I don't know where they get this. They're trying to blame Olivia Munn for, the Packers' downfall. And I agree with Beth. We're tired of hearing about Olivia Munn. I don't think she has anything to do with it. And even with the injuries and even with the wind, there's got to be a way to win.
Yeah, that I agree with 110%. Kyle said defense. That's it. And tonight has shown that. Aaron Rodgers had a hell of a game. That he did. Yeah, this was all came down to what happened at the end of that third quarter. And when that one play came out, man, it was like, oh, here comes the falling apart part.
You could almost see it coming. It's almost on the surface appears to be unavoidable. Obviously, all things are, but
that was the best part. Like that happened, we go down and score, and then 2 plays later, they were back in the end zone again, and it was like, oh, son of a.
Yeah, it's like when it rains, it pours, or when it's windy, it's downhill. And Gary on Twitter posted just this afternoon while doing the show prep, says, I've been in Washington for the game, off to Philly. I'm from Derby, England. Any tips? And finished up with need a win. But Troy, any tips? Are you familiar at all with the Philly area?
Yes, I am. And I can tell you this much. The reason why it's called the city of brotherly love. Yeah. When they call you number one, it's not because you're number one. So just keep an eye out if you're walking out downtown there.
It's good to have those kind of tips. Philly cheesesteak. If you happen to bump into our buddies, Joe McCready and John Buchanan, tell them hi.
And because you are from England, wouldn't hurt to go check out that cool place where we started the country and broke away from you guys.
Gary, I don't know if you were looking for those particular tips. That's all we got. But Liberty Bell, Constitution Hall, definitely things to see. The original Congress and the chairs and stuff in there are just part of American history that you have to check out if you're in Philly for sure. Run up the steps like Rocky.
Always.
And
every time I'm there.
You do that?
I get pretty winded, but yes, I make it up to the top.
You have your iPhone playing the theme from Rocky?
Well, all the time.
Oh, okay, good. Awesome. And Gary, please root the Packers on to victory. We're counting on you. You came all the way from Derby, England. Go Pack, go.
Hopefully you have a 3-game stop in that trip of yours there, Gary, because going to Lambeau for game 3 would be awesome.
Oh, absolutely. Back in the cozy confines of Lambeau Field coming up. And Troy, you've got news that it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Yes, the tree has been chosen for the 11th annual Festival of Lights at Lambeau Field, taking place on Saturday, December 3rd, in and outside of the Lambeau Field atrium. The tree is going to be placed out on Harlan Plaza on Monday, November 28th. That's just a few days after this podcast drops. And it'll be decorated throughout the week with more than 10,000 lights.
Whoa.
It's a lot of lights. The free family-themed event will begin at 5 p.m. on that Saturday, December 3rd, beginning at 5 p.m., featuring holiday movies, cartoons, card making, and holiday music by local school choirs. And, of course, photo opportunities with Santa Claus. He might be wearing a Packers jersey, just saying. Families attending the Festival of Lights are encouraged to donate new unwrapped toys to help families in need this holiday season through one of the Toys for Tots stations. And at 6:30 p.m. on the 3rd, the event will move out onto the plaza for the formal lighting of the tree.
I love that kind of stuff. I wish I could make it up there for that because this sounds fantastic. And I can only imagine the Festival of Lights. It's already awesome, but imagine in a few years when the Titletown district's completed, that this is going to become just a mainstay of the holiday season.
Oh, that would be sweet. Yeah, the tree goes up in the center of the Titletown district. Man, that would be so much fun with the ice skating rink and the sled hill. Yeah, I like it. That's going to be so cool.
Amazing. Now, you're going to break down something here for us. When I saw this headline, this is like a headline that I never thought I would ever hear or see printed about. What is going on? Is this a rumor? Does it have any legs at all, Troy?
Well, apparently there's some slate of coaches that the NFL looks at to come into the NFL. And even though this guy was in the NFL at one time, Jim Harbaugh's name has been kind of thrown around as maybe taking Mike McCarthy's spot.
The khaki one?
Yeah, the khaki one. If McCarthy were to get fired at the end of the season, there's talk about Jim Harbaugh. I'm like, Jim Harbaugh, Michigan, just took the job up there. He's really going to become the... No. This is all speculation.
Oh, okay.
This is the media doing what they want to do. I mean, the secondary is bleeding, and even if you replace Dom Capers, like we said, nobody would be able to work with the secondary players that we have in place today. They're just not talented enough to work as a complete unit. But replacing Mike McCarthy, I don't see it. I'm not a Mike McCarthy fan follower, flag waver, whatever you want to call it. I've criticized McCarthy on some of his decisions, especially taking away the play calling from Tom last year. All right, giving the play calling to Tom, taking it away was the right thing to do. But, I don't think McCarthy is the issue. So, no, I don't think we fire McCarthy next year. I think he's been an excellent coach for the Green Bay Packers. I think they have to install a different system of some kind. I think it's probably a 4-3 defense, and maybe Dom is on the chopping block, especially if we have another 40 points put up on us from the Philadelphia Eagles, of all people, and then the Jaguars and the Bears are around the corner.
It ain't going to happen.
It's going to get scary if things don't get corrected. So maybe Dom is on the way out. I don't know. But Jim Harbaugh in a Packers color, no thanks.
I mean, granted, his khaki pants are similar in color to the pants we wear when we wear our retro jerseys from the 40s. But no, I can't even imagine John Harbaugh.
I can't imagine Harbaugh anything.
So anyways, that's good to hear that there's probably no legs at all to this. I mean, like you said, he just got hired at Michigan and appears to be doing quite well there. Our friend Hank Davis, very happy with how Michigan things are going these days.
It's his alma mater. Why would he leave? It's got to be a really sweet deal for him to leave Michigan at this point.
That's true. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Oh, not much in the NFC North even makes sense. The Lions are 6-4. I'm not sure how, but they're still in first place, Troy. I don't understand it. And the Vikings are 6-4. I can't believe they found a way to get back in the winning column this week.
And that's the scary part, because if they're back in the winning column and feel a spark, that means they're going to keep winning. The Lions, Matthew Stafford's still on fire this season. It's 2 games to make up. Granted, we play each of them one more time, but that means they both have to lose one more time and we have to run the table. And that's just not going to happen.
And mathematically, there's an even worse scenario where we could still, but like you said, it's time to start winning. Packers 4-6. This is not what I was expecting to be talking about. Wow, just wow. And the Bears, 2-8. Jay Cutler may have hurt his shoulder, might be out the rest of the year. We may never see him in a Bears uniform again, just saying.
That would be awesome. Because then the Bears could at least be a formidable team again. So it makes those games down here that we watch with our friends at least interesting to go to.
Well, except for that one time that was so interesting that Aaron Rodgers got injured by the Bears.
Yeah.
But
that was not fun.
Other than that, all for it.
All right. Well, we're moving on. We're going to Philly.
Woohoo!
Monday night.
That's true.
43 degrees around kickoff, 13% of rain. So hopefully it's going to be a less windy occasion. So the keys of the game this week, it's so bad right now. We're just going to keep things simple, people. Play Packer football. Speed, and more speed. Speed to the quarterback on defense, speed in closing on the passing routes, speed filling the gaps on the run. They always say the NFL plays at a high tempo. We need to turn that tempo up to 11 this week. Number 2, fundamentals. Fielding kicks, tackling, run behind your blocker unless you have open pasture, no pre-snap penalties, no third quarter timeouts, and control the clock. Simple, basic football. Number 3, play defense for all 60 minutes, period.
I wouldn't mind if we played defense for 6 minutes, but 60 is even better.
Yeah. Number 4, play offense for 60 minutes, period. Play a whole game, guys. Come on. Both of you at the same day, at the same time, play one full football game. Because then we know it can be done, and then you just have to repeat, and which is a lot easier to do. And then number 5, play as if this was the Super Bowl this week, people. Because if you don't win, you're out. Nobody's going to make the NFC wildcards this year at 9-7. It's just not going to happen. So play as if you'll never get to play football again, because if we lose Monday, the season is over. Maybe not mathematically, but there's no reason for us to even be in the playoff conversation.
And if we don't make the playoffs, this could be one of the last games that some of the players play.
It is very true. And you know what? If you lose, that's fine. Accept responsibility. Don't make excuses. There may be no I in team, but when you lose, the only thing you can control is that you could have played better. Or in this case, I could have played better if you're given a press conference. How will I do better next week? How will I better prepare? Take responsibility and stop saying that, I thought it was okay. It wasn't. Just get it done, people. Get it done.
In fact, I'm going to put my hands on my computer screen to that and say, yeah.
And with that, my soapbox melted away.
Amen to that.
I'll turn the floor over to you, Sir Wayne.
All right. The Packers dope sheet is out, and we will link to it at PackersFanPodcast.com/120. It's for the Packers and Eagles matchup, and lots of green, different shades of green. The 4-6 Green Bay Packers. Oh, that sounds bad. We stay on the road on to Philadelphia to play the 5-5 Eagles November 28th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And we'll have, again, all of this, the full, beautiful sheet will be at PackersFanPodcast.com/120. And although this is the Packers' only Monday Night Football appearance this season, it's the 24th consecutive season, going back to 1993, that the Green Bay Packers have appeared on Monday Night Football. That is the second longest streak in the league, behind only the Denver Broncos and their 25-year consecutive streak of Monday Night Football games. So that is something. And
that is something, and that streak might end this year if we lose and don't make the playoffs. Sad face. Although I'd be okay with all the games being on Sunday. I hate this Monday night, Thursday night garbage.
Yeah, especially the Thursday night.
Yeah.
And the Green Bay Packers aren't all that excited about it either, stats-wise. Packers are only 30 wins, 31 losses, and 1 tie all-time on Monday Night Football, though it has won its past 2 appearances. And this is the 4th meeting between the Packers and Eagles on Monday Night Football. They last played against each other. We all remember this game, Monday Night Football 2006, a 31-9 Eagles victory in Philadelphia. Not one of our finest moments. And way back in the day, before most of us were born, maybe even all of us, the Packers swept the first 9 contests against the Eagles in the series. And we won 16 of 18 of those. And, of course, this is that span from 1933 to 1970. So, yeah, I'm just looking for the bright spots here, Troy.
But was that Monday Night Football game in 2006? Was that the 4th and 26 game?
I don't remember it that clearly. I just remember the horrific losing.
Okay.
But 2006, that's just 2 years after the season when we went 4-12, and I went up to Lambeau Field with the family to watch the Packers lose. It was still great. Would have rather had a victory, but...
Oh, no, the 4th and 26 was the playoff game in 2004.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That
Sorry
year.
about that. Anything against the Eagles always scared me back then.
Yes.
The old Donovan McNabb days.
Anything could happen at any time. When you have Brett Favre on one side of the ball, Donovan McNabb on the other, those were fun times.
They were.
And the obvious, but still fun, notable connection, Eagles head coach Doug Peterson played quarterback for the Packers for 8 seasons. That's 95 through 98, and then came back again for 2001 through 2004, and that's mostly sitting behind Brett Favre. But he was still part of that Packers Super Bowl 31 winning team. Again, read the full dope sheet in our show notes. We got it linked at PackersFanPodcast.com/120. And, you really got to see a lot of Doug Peterson when he was Brett Favre's backup because he didn't have a helmet on. So he's easily recognizable. And I don't know how all of a sudden he's the head coach of the Eagles, but there he is. And they're one game ahead of the Packers.
So when he's holding his clipboard on Monday night, covering up his mouth, calling in the plays, is he wearing the 31 bling on his finger?
Ooh, we should probably look at that.
Kind of rubbing it into the team at that point. It would be kind of funny.
Well, we do have high def. Let's look for that.
You know what? Since we keep losing and I go first, you go first on the score predictions then, because maybe that'll change things up.
We tried that before. It didn't work, but let's try it again. Somebody has to go first. I think the Packers are going to score 29 points. The offense is still going to be rolling along, and the Eagles are going to score 28. And you know what that means? That means it's a Packers victory, 29-28.
I'm still trying to figure out how you get to 29. Why don't you just make it 30?
With all the missed extra point attempts.
Very possible. Yeah. It's getting to be that time of the year. 2 field goals, right? Or was it 1 field goal, 1 extra point missed on that the Redskins game?
Something like that. And then in all of the other games, there was close to a record number of extra points missed in one day on Sunday.
Wow. Since I did pick the loss last week and was right again, I'm going to pick a win this week just because we need one.
And you'll be right again.
I will be right again. Packers 27, Eagles 24 is where I'm feeling right now.
Excellent.
Shaking things out.
Originally, I thought you were thinking of a blowout, but you've kind of.
Oh no. let's be clear.
The Eagles are still going to score points.
Offense is on the way. If I were to change this, really thinking how if it was a blowout, it would be more like Packers 45, Eagles 42, because there's still no defense.
Oh, as long as John Buchanan does not get a free cup of coffee from Dunkin' Donuts for an Eagles victory.
That's the hope. Otherwise, you get your free cup of coffee and you send it our way.
That's
what
you
you have to do. Just be like, dude, I'm sorry you guys lost again. Here's a cup of coffee.
If all Eagles fans did that, we'd have so much caffeine, Troy.
Maybe it would help and we'd actually win the next game.
Yeah, just give the free caffeine to the Packers players.
They got to do something at this point. Oh my gosh. Well, with that, we'll get out of here. The Unofficial Packers Fan Podcast is not affiliated with the NFL or the Green Bay Packers. However, you can help make that happen. Tell them to email us at media@PackersFanPodcast.com. And don't forget to become one of the Packers Fan Podcast faithful by visiting PackersFanPodcast.com/support to see how you can help make the podcast even better. Be sure to tell all of your friends, because you know what? If we're going down with the ship, at least we can go down together, having some fun right here.
Absolutely. We're always here trying to make the best of a bad situation and look on the bright side and have some fun here on the podcast, and have more fun by taking the podcast on the go with you. Again, we've got our free Packers Fan Podcast app for iOS and Android. It's presented by theticketking.com. Don't get sold out of your next Packers game. Visit PackersFanPodcast.com/tickets for all the details on how they can help you out. And all season long, follow us on Twitter at PackersFanPod, and follow me on Twitter at Wayne Henderson.
And me, I'm at Troy Heinrichs. Be sure to like us on Facebook as well. Visit PackersFanPodcast.com/Facebook to join the community.
And anywhere in the world, any time of day or night, visit PackersFanPodcast.com/feedback to get your feedback in. Let your voice be heard. Keep the conversations going online in between these games, and especially on game day as we live tweet during the games as much as we possibly can. We just try to have some fun. Thanks for listening to this fun episode of your Packers Fan Podcast.
That's /support, /tickets, /feedback, /Facebook. Write them all down. It's very easy to remember. Be part of Packer Nation with us here on the Packers Fan Podcast. We need to turn it up. Get ready for Monday Night Football, people. It's our one time this year. Let's show the national audience what we can do with a giant Go Pack Go.